In this portion of the demonstration, I'm going to create and demonstrate the use of an encrypted file that contains a partition that you can use VeraCrypt to mount to any available drive letter. This partition is going to contain a number of secrets, and for later in the demonstration, I want to find any places where the secrets have leaked. And to do that, I'm going to use an eye catcher here, just a fixed string here of 4 equal signs, the word secret with a capital S, that 4 trailing equal signs. And this will be used in various places as we create the information here. The encrypted file is going to be created under Documents with the name of volume 001, and then the default extension for it is a .hc. And the password for this encrypted file is a secret, so the password is going to be starting with for this demonstration, is going to start with the eye catcher, and then I've got a random 4-digit number here. Once it's created and mounted, I'm going to populate that partition with various secrets here. I'm going to mount it to the available letter, drive letter F, and I'm going to create a subdirectory called dir has the eye catcher again, and then 2189 for the file name. And then within that directory, I'm going to create 4 different files through 4 different tools. Each of the files is going to start with the word file. It's going to have the eye catcher for a secret, and then it's going to have a random magic number to identify that file. And then each of these files is going to contain a different secret. The first 2 of these are going to be created through some standard Unix tools that are part of Cygwin. The first one's the echo command, which is actually part of the bash shell, built right in. And then a very commonly used Unix Linux editor called VI. And then the last 2 are going to be created with some common Windows tools, namely Notepad and WordPad. So let's jump on over to the VM. Where'd he go? And he's left off where he was from the demonstration where VeraCrypt was installed. I can come down here to do create volume. I take the very first option here, and we're just going to do a standard one here. And then we need to give it a location to place the file. So documents, and it's going to go at .hc. Okay. And we go here. Standard methods for encryption. Volume size, we'll choose 100 megabytes. Okay. Although you normally wouldn't do this because somebody might be watching over your shoulder for this demonstration, I'm going to display password. And the password is, again, we've got the easily to discover eye catcher. And then type the same thing. And once they match, we get the next here. Okay, and yes, it's a short, weak password for this demo. At this point here, it's actually creating the real 512-bit default password that it actually uses versus the password I typed. And it's collecting randomness from mouse movements that I'm doing here. You'll see the red here means it really hasn't collected all that much randomness. But very soon this is going to turn yellow, saying it's got a moderate amount. And if I stayed around here for a minute or so more, moving my mouse around in various random directions, I'd finally get a green here. For now, though, this moderate key randomness is fine. We hit Format. And it's going to create it fairly rapidly. Okay, successfully created. Volume created, we go next. It's actually going to go back and we could create another one. We don't need it. We just come back here. Next step is to actually mount that thing. So we're going to mount it as the drive letter F. Select the file. Documents. Volume right there. Open that, put it there. And then all we have to do is say mount. And then it wants to know the password to the thing. And it does take a little while to mount them, probably 20 seconds or so. So instead of time-lapsing the video, I'm just going to stay here, but it's going to get here fairly quickly. There we go. Now it's there. At this point, I can actually go look at it, see it, do whatever I want with it. So here we've got File Manager, and we can look at this PC. And sure enough, there's the local drive F. It's right there, and it's empty. To start out with, I'm going to use Cygwin terminal. And I'm going to start populating this thing. So the first thing is to change over to that directory. And then I need to, as shown in the earlier slide, start populating it. So first with the directory, I'm going to create it. Change on into that directory. Okay. And then the first thing we want to do is use the echo command to create a file with a secret in it. So echo, we're going to echo redirected on into the chosen file name, which is file. Okay, so I should now just be able to see the contents. I can display out the contents of that file. And that file contains that secret. The next one is to use VI to create another file here. So we're going to do VI. Okay, and then okay. Fortunately, I escaped out of the full size window in the VM there. Hopefully this doesn't cause me too much trouble because I did need to use the escape key. Gotta use escape to get out of VI. Unfortunately, it caused me to escape out of full screen mode also. But now I've got that there. Okay, I can go back into just the side over here is just some VM controls that I can use to control the VM that I'm using here. Similarly, I can do cat file. It's going to ask me for the number of that file. For the VI, that's 335. And that contains the secret that I showed on the earlier slide there. Okay, at this point, I'm all done with the Unix methods of creating some data. I can show those files are right there. Okay, for now. Okay, so now let's bring up Notepad. There we go. And then for Notepad, I need to have the eye catcher. 348. And then save that to the specified location as a text file. So let's go on over here, this PC. Got to get over to the F drive. There's the folder that I used Unix commands to create. And then within there, it's supposed to be file. 2448. all done with him. And oops, got on my terminal there. Okay. Next, I'll bring on a WordPad. Okay. File. Save as. PC. Go on over to my F drive. And we're going to save it in the rich text file format. That's going to be file 2557. Oops. Sorry. Go under the F drive there. To the right folder, have the file name there, and save it. Okay. So now I can look on the F drive as a directory, and there are the 4 files that have been created. All done. At this point here, we can take VeraCrypt. Got the F drive selected, and I can unmount it. It's now gone. Bringing up File Manager again. Looking at this PC. F drive's no longer there. If I want to, I can mount that as a different letter. Let's take the H drive, mount. Again, we need the password. And the password being yep. Okay. As before, it takes 10, 20 seconds or so. It'll be done very soon here. And coming back on over, looking at the H drive. There's the secret again. And there are the files. Okay. So that concludes demonstrating the creation of a regular file that contains a partition that can be mounted to any of the available disk letters.